Hey everybody, ChillCraft here. It's been a long time, but I'm not going to give you, a 2-minute intro. I'm going to stick straight to it. I've been excited. I've been back on the WoW hype train. Got back into it. Been doing G-bids like crazy. The meta's changed so much. It's been sort of exciting, and I'm hyped for TBC. So the question I've been getting a lot from various people is, which leatherworking specialization should I be utilizing for TBC? So the great news is that you're not going to have to basically go through leatherworking again if you've already been doing leatherworking in WoW Classic. You just have to pay a fee and turn in the mats, and you can switch basically from tribal to Dragonscale or something like that. As soon as pre-patch hits, I plan on doing this, and I'll actually do a video kind of going through this and what I learned from it, and how each and every one of you guys can do the same thing. But the question I wanted to answer today is, which leatherworking specialization and rep should you consider if you're doing leatherworking? So a lot of people are going to be doing leatherworking primarily because of the drums of war, right? We talked about this in another video, but because of some changes that are happening, it isn't going to be as, I would say, widespread as it was previously or on private servers. But when it comes to the mail and leather sets, there are some really good gear that you can get from this. And even, I think, looking at some of the pre-raid BIS sets, these sets, you can consider them all the way up into some of the end game raids. So it's something that I think does provide a lot of value. It's not just the drums of war. So let's take a look at it right here, right? So when it comes to Dragonscale, these are a male sets. There are two different sets, and the only group that really should be considering Dragonscale are the shamans, specifically elemental and enhancement. There can be a case that's made for elemental, the elemental leatherworking, for enhancement shamans, and I'll get into that for a second, but primarily there's one set for elemental shamans, one set for enhancement shamans. When it comes to elemental, there's one set that exists. It's very heavy on attack power and agility, so it's primarily going to be for rogues, feral druids. It's a leather set, but in my opinion, when it comes to hunters, I would much rather have that agility than straight attack power, and I get a lot of unnecessary stats on the other one. So I believe this is also a hunter set. There is a case that enhancement shamans can run with elemental, but I think the armor and other advantages that you get from the Dragonscale set, you could basically make that choice, and maybe if you've already made that choice as an enhancement shaman, you can stick with whatever specialization you should have. When it comes to tribal, this is resto druids, resto shaman specific. I guess if you're boomkin, this is what you're running. There isn't, I don't know if there's, I'm unfamiliar, but I don't know if there's really good sets out there for boomkins. But yeah, that's mainly what you're going if you're a healer. Now, when it comes to the Scryer versus Aldor debate, I don't think you should really consider this for leatherworking. The reason why is both sets are a mix of leather and mail, so it doesn't give any advantages if you're a hunter versus a rogue or something like that. The main advantage is whether or not you're going arcane resist or fire resist. So Scryer, you're going arcane resist, and Aldor, you're going fire resist. Now the meta in WoW, for the most part, was around consumables. When we thought about resist gear, it wasn't so much as stacking those heavy resist sets. And if you, for example, you were using the black Dragonscale set, and WoW, you probably never really used it, or you found better gear almost immediately. And I believe that will be the case in TBC. So if you're thinking about that, I would say think about it for another profession, or that's something a little bit more specific to your class. Now, when we get into looking at each of the individual sets, each specialization gets basically their own breastplate at 330. It's a pretty decent breastplate that you can basically wear at 65, and it's something that if you're leveling it as you go in TBC, I think there's going to be a lot of value there. But where I saw in looking at some of the pre-raid BIS information was that a lot of these leatherworking sets were listed as viable options in pre-raid BIS. So if you're leveling up leatherworking, you want to take advantage of the drums, you know, I think it is advantageous to make sure you're actually using these specializations for getting into raids. Now, Dragonscale has the Ebon Netherscale set. This is a 3-piece set, belt, bracers, and breastplate, and this is a 375 set, so it's going to require level 70. It's got slots for jewel crafting, and it's primarily a critical strike set. So this is the set that you would be basically running as enhancement shamans. Now, the other set that Dragonscale has is the Nether Strike set, and this is also belt, bracers, and breastplate. We got sockets for jewel crafting, and this gives plus spell damage. It gives plus spell crit strike. So this is for our elemental shamans. Now, the one that I'm pretty excited about as a hunter is the Primal Strike set. A lot of agility, a lot of attack power. On the other one that I was looking at, the Ebon Netherscale set, I get a lot of stats in intellect and mana per second that, you know, it's nice to have, but as a hunter, my goal is to be, you know, as far away as possible, not face tanking some of that damage. So I'm definitely excited about the Primal Strike set. A lot of agility, a lot of AP, and hit rating, so it's going to be extremely valuable for hunters, rogues, and feral druids. With tribal, we have the Windhawk set. So this gives a lot of intellect, it gives spirit, it does also give some spell critical strike, which I think was really interesting, but a lot of the equipped benefits are increased healing and magical spell and effects. So I'll be going into basically what are my plans for TBC in another video, as well as boosting up the leatherworking set to 375, the leatherworking guide to 375, and also focusing on the specializations. I plan on streaming on pre-patch on the 18th, and hopefully launch day, if launch date is functional at all. So thank you guys so much for the support. Hope to see you guys out there. And I also want to know, what are you guys interested? What are your thoughts towards TBC? What sort of questions do you have? I know there's a lot of content out there, you know, but what are you guys looking to achieve in the next couple of weeks with pre-patch, prior to pre-patch, and for launch? All right, everyone, take care.